Okay, so you grab a cucumber for a salad, right? Or to snack on. But hold on. What if that cucumber is part of a massive recall and could even make you sick?
That's what we're diving into today, cucumbers, salmonella, and the recent recall from SunFed Produce. These cucumbers were sold across 26 U.S. states and 5 Canadian provinces. So there's a decent chance some of you listening might actually have some sitting in your fridge right now.
Yep, sold between October 12th and November 26th of this year. That's a pretty big window.
It is. And we're not just going to focus on the recall itself. We're going to take this opportunity to look at the bigger picture, understand the risks, and how to stay safe.
Awesome. So, starting with the specifics of this recall, SunFed Produce, they're the ones who issued it, right?
Right, prompted by the FDA. Seems they found a link between these cucumbers and some reported cases of salmonella.
And these illnesses, they were reported, sometime between October 12th and November 15th?
Yeah, that's the time frame. And that was enough to trigger a pretty wide-scale recall. We don't know the exact number of people who got sick,
But enough to be a concern. So, anyone listening, what should they do? Just toss any suspect cucumbers.
Well, first, got to check if you've actually got any of the recalled cucumbers. If you do, then yeah, definitely toss them out. But also, give your crisper drawer a good cleaning, too. Wouldn't want any cross-contamination, right?
Makes sense. And if anyone wants to double-check or has questions?
They can always contact their retailer or SunFed directly. All the info's out there.
Right. And obviously, see a doctor if you think you're experiencing any symptoms.
Absolutely. Always better to be safe than sorry.
Okay, so let's talk about the big baddie here, Salmonella. What exactly is it, besides, something that can ruin your week?
Well, put simply, Salmonella is a type of bacteria, and it can cause a whole bunch of unpleasant symptoms. Fever, diarrhea, nausea, abdominal cramps.
Yuck. Sounds familiar. Question, though. Those symptoms, how long do they usually stick around?
They usually pop up between, say, 6 hours and 6 days after you've been infected.
Wow, so quite a range.
Yeah, and they can last for 4 to 7 days.
That is definitely a ruined week. But is it always that severe? Or are there cases where it's just a mild inconvenience?
Most cases, thankfully, do clear up on their own, but there are some groups like young children, older adults, people with compromised immune systems, they're more at risk of serious complications. Might even need hospitalization.
So, not something to take lightly. And I can't help but think about that other cucumber recall from over the summer. Seems like this isn't just a one-off thing, right?
Right. You're thinking about the one that hit 34 states.
Yeah, over 550 people got sick from that one.
It's a reminder that this is a recurring issue. In cucumbers, while often linked to outbreaks, they're not always the sole source. Sometimes the contamination happens earlier in the supply chain.
So, what are some of those other points of contamination?
Well, think about it. The irrigation water used on the farms, surfaces in the processing facilities, even how they're handled during transportation. Lots of potential weak points.
Wow, so it's not just about being careful in our own kitchens, but also being aware of what happens before those cucumbers even reach us.
Exactly. And that's why robust food safety practices throughout the entire supply chain are so important.
Like, what kind of practices we're talking about?
Well, for example, standardized sanitation protocols on farms, rigorous testing at processing facilities, even something like blockchain technology can be used for better transparency. Knowing where your food comes from and how it's handled can make a huge difference.
Okay, so besides scrubbing our cucumbers and crisper drawers, what can we as consumers actually do?
Well, staying informed about recalls is a great first step. Sign up for alerts from the FDA, keep an eye on the news,
Right.
And don't underestimate the power of being a vocal consumer.
Oh, you mean like ask questions?
Exactly. Ask your grocery store about their food safety practices, choose brands that prioritize these things, support companies that are innovating in this space.
So basically, the more we know, the safer we can be. And the more we push for better practices, the better the system becomes as a whole.
Exactly. Food safety is a shared responsibility.
All right, so summing it all up, this cucumber recall is a big deal. But it's also a reminder that salmonella and foodborne illness in general, it's a bigger issue that we need to be aware of.
Awareness leads to action, and action is what keeps us safe.
Absolutely. So, to everyone listening out there, what questions do you have about food safety? What comes to mind after learning about all of this? Because knowledge and asking questions, that's how we make a difference. And of course, for more deep dives into topics just like this, don't forget to subscribe to The Deep Dive.